pain, that is neck pain, and the radiating pain, that is called as cervical neuralgia. Okay, you have two kinds of pain in the neck. One is the localized pain. Okay, that is exactly found in the neck region, maybe here or here. Okay. Okay, maybe this comes because of degeneration in the cervical vertebrae, or else spasm in the neck muscles. Okay, so it can cause the localized pain. And as I told you, if there is a nerve root involvement, for example, if there is a disc bulging or disc protrusion, there will be a compression or irritation of the nerve root which is emerging out of the spinal cord. Okay. Okay, so the pain will be radiating to the arms or to the forearm, wherever. See, this depending upon the nerve root involvement, C1 or C2 or C3 or C4 or C5, C6, C7, C8, T1. So depending upon the involvement of the nerve root, you will elicit a pain, either at the forearm, back, front of the front of the arm or back of the arm, or either front of the forearm or back of the forearm. Okay, so depending upon the nerve root involvement. The first things, whenever the patient comes with you pain, you have to palpate for the pain. So before placing the electrode, you should know where the area of pain, the location. Okay, the location of pain. For that you can palpate. Is the pain is here. So accordingly you have to position. Like we have 4 electrodes. Okay. And for neck you have to use the smaller size electrode. Okay, this is not this can't be used for treating neck condition, because see, if you keep one electrode it will cover the whole neck, so you can't use this, because if there is a localized pain, if you want to place all 4 electrode, it has to be small. Okay, so that you can place one here, one here, one here, one here, depending upon the area of pain you can place it over. Okay, if it is for localized pain you have to keep all 4 electrode in the neck region. You have to use the smaller electrode, the smaller size of the electrodes. And if there is a radiating pain, maybe the patient is having on both sides, like on either side of the neck there is a pain, and the pain is radiating to the right side or to the left side. Okay, so what you do, you have to place one electrode on one electrode on one side of the muscle, and other electrode on the other side, and the remaining 2 electrodes should be kept over the area of radiating pain, either to the right side or the left side, no problem. Okay,
This is one red and black for the
yeah,
back or
see, one red, black, red, black.
okay.
So this is, we have to keep alternative so that it goes in a series. So the current will pass through this electrode to this electrode and this electrode to this electrode. Okay, so this is how you treat with neck conditions. Okay, neck conditions, you have 2 kind of pain. One is localized pain that can come due to cervical spondylosis. Spondylosis is degeneration of the cervical vertebrae. Okay, so that can induce pain. And if there is a spasm, cervical muscle spasm, if your muscles are weak, if your neck muscles are weak, and it can lead to spasm in the muscle. The spasm will produce pain. Okay, so that kind of pain can be treated with IFT. And if you have cervical neuralgia, if there is a nerve root irritation or there is nerve root compression, so it will produce pain in the appropriate, the respective dermatomal level. So you have a dermatomes, right? The distribution of dermatomes, C5, C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, like that. Okay, so you have to place it accordingly. Okay, and I'll tell you repeatedly, you have to use the smaller size electrode. So, and whenever you treat with IFT, the 2 electrodes should not come in contact. Okay, the electrode should not be in contact with each other. Okay, always you should leave a gap of 1 inch or 2 inches. Okay, so this is to avoid, like, what happens if the 2 electrode touches? Shock. So either it produces shock, or else the current will not passes through the patient's skin. The current will go from this electrode to this electrode. Okay, so the patient will not be obtaining the current which he wanted to treat the condition. Okay. And that's why that's why it should be avoided, like the contact of 2 electrodes. And next is, I have told you about the back and neck. right?
Yes.
And the next is you can go with the upper limb, shoulder. For example, if you have a problem for example, you can encounter many problem in the shoulder, like if there is an injury, supraspinatus tendinitis, you have a muscle called supraspinatus. If the tendon inflammation is there, that is called as supraspinatus tendinitis. Or else if you have bicipital tendinitis, you have a bicipital groove, okay, on the head of you know, right? You have a humerus like this,
Yes.
and in this way, I mean, here you have a groove in which it will allow the biceps to enter. Okay, long head of biceps. Okay, so that will, when there is an inflammation to that tendon, it is called as bicipital tendinitis. And you have a bursa in the shoulders, like for example, subacromial bursa is there. So you know what is bursa?
Yeah.
B-U-R-S-A, bursa.
It's a small sack.
It's a small kind of sac, or you can say a small opening between the tendon and the bone. So why do it to be present?
Reduce the shock of the
Yeah,
ligament.
it reduces the
joint.
friction between the two structures. So the purpose of the bursa is to reduce the friction between the tendon and the bone. Okay, so if there is any inflammation, you can find the inflammatory products that will affect the elasticity of the particular tendon. It produces pain. So usually this happens with subacromial bursitis. So there is a bursa located between the acromion process and the muscle. Okay, so that is known as subacromial bursa. If there is an inflammation, you can use this. And again, I want to tell you this: you have to use the smaller sized electrodes. Okay, you have to use the smaller sized electrodes for sure. So any muscle group you can give. Okay. For example, if you want to give it to the whole upper limb, if you want to stimulate all upper arm muscles, I mean, you can say the arm muscles, maybe deltoid, maybe with biceps, you have to stimulate all muscle, then you can place it series. Okay. And that too you have to use smaller electrodes, because it is very difficult to fix it in the smaller areas, because it has to be stabilized like this. Okay. You use these kind of areas, how you fix it? Some portion will be left touching the patient. It will not touch the patient. It will be left open. Okay, so you should not use this kind of electrode in case of treating smaller areas. And next is, so I've told you neck, back, then with the shoulder problem, and you can go with any problem with the muscle group, any spasm in the forearm muscles, you can use this. And in the back, I've told you, placing it series, and then placing it in diagonal way. And one more thing, I've told you the sciatica, like if there is a nerve involvement at the lower back. For example, if there is an involvement of lumbar plexus, the lumbar nerve at L1, L2, L3, S4, L4, S5, S1. So these irritations, you have to place it accordingly. And next is with knee joint. Okay, lie prone. Lie supine. Don't sleep, son. See, nicely slept.
Once more because you won't sleep.
You fold it. See, for example, if you have a problem with if you have a problem in the knee, if you want to treat the knee structure, so how you place it? So you place one like this. Okay, it has to be little up. Huh? Yeah. Not.
It's not like that, huh?
Okay, so here you can use the diagonal way. Okay, one should be here, okay, and the other electrode should be here, okay, and the other two can be one kept here, and the opposite side one you keep it here. Okay, so this you can.
What's it called? This
Diagonal way.
diagonal?
Yeah. So red, black. The
How many,
diagonal.
Doctor, how many application for the electrical?
How many?
Application for the electrical?
Electrode two. One is series and other one is other one is
The
diagonal.
series.
One by one.
Yes.
Yeah. One by one.
Diagonal
Series.
is like X.
X you place it for diagonal.
The locations, where's the location?
So location is at the center of the knee joint. It passes through the joint. So all the structures which is there in the knee, for example, ligaments. If there is a sprain to the ligaments, it can be treated. Okay. So this you can give it. So this you can stabilize it with the strap. Okay. For example, if you want to treat the knee, you can you can stabilize it like this.
لو تسوي شو اسمه زي الحركة ذي
If you want to treat the knee, you can use it like this. Okay, you can fix it. So, but only thing is, only thing you have to be cautious is, the electrode should not be moved from the actual site. You have to check the electrode after tying it up, because see, if it is moving, then it can affect the point of interference. Okay, so that has to be corrected, like once you fix it with the strap. Okay, so this is how you give it for
Knee joint.
knee joint. I mean, the structures which is there in the popliteal fossa, you can place it a little posterior, so that it goes through the posterior side. For example, lie prone. Okay. For example, if you want to treat the posterior structures, how you place it? You place it like this. See, and then I mean, this is bit oriented to the posterior structures. Okay. So now it goes through the posterior aspect. Okay. So this is what you treat if you want to treat the posterior aspect. And so this is about treating knee. And any muscle group, like for example, you can have a protective muscle spasm, either in the hamstring muscle, or in the quadriceps muscle, okay, or in the calf
The
region.
hamstring beside it.
Yes.
So the hamstring muscle.
So you have to see, if you want to stimulate the whole muscles, you have to go with the series arrangement. And if you know the exact area of pain, for example, I've told you, the trigger point.
Yes.
If you know the exact point, then you can center it. Okay. You can center the pain. Or else, if there is a vague pain, if you find a spasm under, like it will be evenly distributed to origin to insertion. You can't find the exact spot. Okay, so in those cases, you have to treat in series, so like this, one by one. Okay. By the way, what muscle constitute hamstrings? What are all the muscles which constitute hamstring? Semitendinosus, semimembranous. Sartorius, very good.
Sorry again, Doctor.
Bicep. What muscle forms
Biceps
hamstring?
and semi
Biceps femoris. Which head of biceps femoris?
lateral head.
Long.
The medial.
Okay, long head of biceps femoris. And then semitendinosus.
Calf muscle.
What are the calf muscles?
Soleus and gastric.
Gastrocnemius, two heads of gastrocnemius, lateral and medial head of gastrocnemius, and soleus. So soleus, so it has another name. Soleus has a special name. Do you know that?
Arceus or Arceus. Arceus, I guess. Arceus.
Achilles tendon.
Yes, yeah.
Tendo-Achilles. So that all together is getting
Sir.
getting united and connecting at the calcaneum. So that is tendo-Achilles. So but soleus has a special name like zygomaticus, laughing muscle, and orbicularis oculi, hissing muscle. So like that it has a special name.
Plantar muscle. Plantar muscle.
لا سبيشال
سبيشال
سمي
زي
على
كيس
But see,
لا اسم